Okay. E-clutch. Two snap rings. If I can find the right end. Here it is. This is a wider one. Planet ring gear comes out. I think that's Planet, was it 3? Can't remember now. This one just seems to be a little narrower. Get rid of the hub assembly, and we're down to the clutches. Okay. Main shaft. Have a specialized little bearing. Set that there. Snap ring. We're going to go press. Get this snap ring off. Return springs are in here. Put this back together. There we go. Molded piston. Return spring. Belleville type. Cones up. Here's the clutches. There's two O-rings in here. And one for the piston, both of the piston here. The ply piston and the piston seal. Something else to do. Yep. Okay. D-ring. We'll go back together. Okay. You know the drill from here. Okay, time to go press and put the snappers back on, right? E-clutch, clutch clearance. Here I've got a 25 and a 16 thousand, so that makes for 41. Let's see how 41 fits. I might have to even persuade it just a little bit. Just get me between two of the discs, doesn't matter which side of which one. And I can't really slide it around, so that might be a tad tight. So I'm gonna go 25 plus 12, that's 35 thousandths. Maybe we can try another place even. So I'm gonna kind of open that up a little bit and stick my feeler gauge in. That went in kind of easy. Maybe I should try 38. Anyway, it's between, 40 and 37. I'm gonna call it 38, 39. I could try it, but you get the idea. E-clutch clearance.
I'll use the compressor to install the snap ring. Then install the E-clutch assembly to the big main shaft. And then as shown here, put the E-clutch back into the sun shell or that housing.
Shell. Well, make sure this bearing's in place, right? And there's a bearing on top here. They snap into place. They shouldn't be too hard to keep track of. In all the way. Now, there's two grooves, right? Important is you have the first snap ring in and the second. This is the wider of the two snap rings. Make sure it sits in its grooves. E-clutch and the main shaft assembled. I think I will go further apart. Inside the front support, I've got clutch B, and I got apply piston B and apply piston A. Okay, before I go pull those apart, let's use a 7mm bolt. The only time I use the 7mm. Take this little cover off. Okay, and this little front cover for the drive gears, I'm actually going to flip this over, and there's a little place, see where that green seal is? I'm not going to hit the teeth, but I'm going to kind of just hit right beside that little green seal. And just maybe, I can use a little screwdriver now and dig out. Oh, I got to take a snap ring out. There's a little retainer snap ring. That would have come out, brother, have I done it in the right order. So take this off first, then knock off this little cover. Apparently, a new one, the new cover comes with a rebuild kit. I've not got a rebuild kit for these yet, but here's your little cover for the drive gears. Here's my front, torque converter front seal, and it's got its own little retaining ring here, and so here's this independent seal, and I'll set that aside for now. This gear right here. Now I'm going to grab the torque converter. It's kind of neat to show you this part. Let me set the clutch aside for now. The torque converter has 4 flaps, and that's again where the drive gear would ride. Okay, so you can visualize again how this drive gear, this idler gear, drive a transmission pump. Okay, so that's how that works. While I'm here, I would like to show one more thing about the torque converter. Notice that how the clutch lining is part of the turbine and the clutch surface is back here on this side of the housing. Most converter clutches are on the back side and they face the opposite way. These are actually on a slight angle, I think engineered or applied characteristic of some sort. Notice these big heavy-duty springs for cushion. If the converter was engaged, say between second, third, or fourth gear, these springs are designed to help cushion the actual shift while allowing the converter clutch to stay engaged. It's a neat aspect about the converters of these. In order to get the B clutch out, we've got to compress this and remove a snap ring. Okay, be sure and put the front support on the press, what's going to support on this big broad area. Don't press on the stator support shaft. Okay, now there is one thing to point out here. All these windows might look all the same, but one is different from all the others. Okay, I can see the snap ring there, but look at this one here. There's a raised little dog or a little thing that pokes in this little opening. Okay, well, this is where the ends of the snap ring are. That's so. Anyway, it's an alignment dowel basically. Okay, so let me get my little special tool here. We will compress. Make sure I'm centered. And you gotta leave some area for it to raise, so I'm gonna go ahead and, there we go. Okay, and just maybe that's enough to poke out this ring. There we go. See, the ends of the snap ring are on either end of that little dog or that raised area, that alignment dowel. Clear in the back. There we go. Now we can raise it. And this snap ring, again, is kind of L-shaped, and the little L, or the longer side, goes down. Okay, we can go now to the bench and disassemble. Okay, snap ring out. Let's go ahead and get this first plate off, the pressure plate. Notice again, the step is up, flat side down. And it's got the little wavy springs to keep the discs apart. Again, for low drag, improved fuel economy. Somehow we missed something. Let's just go ahead and dump them out. Why mess around? Okay, and of course here's the one-way roller clutch. Don't jerk it off too fast, some of the rollers might pop out. All right. On here, we'll pop out the A piston clutch part way anyway. Actually, that's the B one. Okay, so I can actually knock out this molded piston. That's the second one from that end. This long a string, there's this big long of holes. The second one from this end is the port that applies the B. Okay, that's the piston that applies. I'm going to come over to this hole. I'm going to see if I can get this A one to come out. It just comes out part way. So I'm going to get in one of these holes and just gently keep walking it out. I want something round. I want to do as hopefully the least amount of damage as possible. Okay. Now, here's the seal for a piston. And this other seal for the inside, of course, is inside this the housing here, this area for the A piston, right? I really don't want to go dig this out. I'm not rebuilding it, but be assured that there's a seal down here that would need replacing, that would ride on the inside of this piston, and of course we have the outer O-ring for the outside of the piston as A applies and releases. The A clutch that we first saw once we got the front the front cover, the front support, this applies. Here's the piston for that A clutch. Okay, let's reassemble this B clutch. And of course the apply piston goes in this front cover, the front support, assembly first. Of course, a little bit of lube goes a long way. ATF is probably the best lube to use. And I'm going to push this down. Okay, and I simply put it in its pocket. Now this piston pokes up just a little bit in its pocket down in here, maybe about the thickness of, I'm going to say a penny, maybe a nickel. That's normal. You'll feel a little edge down here. It's in all the way. You can't push it any further. Now, found out the hard way. It does matter. These are the two thicker plates of the clutch assembly, meaning the flat one goes in first. The one that's stepped, it ends up on top of the step up. If you put this in first upside down, you'll never get this compressed and put the snap ring in. Okay, so this is the top plate with the step. So let's go ahead and load this clutch. Again, this is the flat one. I don't believe it matters which way is which. You could always look to see which way had faced the clutches before and maybe use a fresh side the next time, on the rebuild. Okay. Of course, here's my spacer to push the clutches apart for less drag, less resistance, improved fuel economy, right? And a friction against the flat steel. Okay, so more steels. Just to fall in. Separator, friction, steel. Oh, I made one mistake. You better put this hub in first because the frictions are going to line up with it. Okay, so let's continue on. I've already got a wavy in there. Friction. Steel. Wave. Friction. Steel. Almost there. Yep, still need one of these. Now, you're going to get to the end, and you're going to look at the last clutch. It doesn't really engage with this one-way, roller clutch, this hub, B clutch hub B. Well, we're going to go to the press, and we're going to compress this down, and then this will slide in. Okay, because these are keeping the friction discs spaced out, and so it appears that this isn't assembled right. Well, it'll work out. Once we compress everything, we'll get these sitting in the right place, then we'll be able to, this will line up with the teeth on the hub, this last friction disc, the internal teeth. Okay, let's go to the press. You know how this works, my little modified tool, or band I should say, but the snap ring on clutch B is kind of got an L shape. Can you see that? I'm going to flip it over. That's how it goes. So the L goes down. So before I compress anything, let me get my little manufactured tool in place. I'll get my bar in place, and you guys know what to do from here. Okay, I want to show you how to use these special tools, and of course the kit I bought earlier that I show in the prior video explains these, and the cost of these are not cheap. But I don't know how you're going to get these in here successfully unless you boil these in water, stretch them by hand carefully, put them in place, and put like a hose clamp around them. That is an approach. You can do that. But I thought I'd show the right tool. I stretched one of these Teflon rings out, these seal rings, okay? And just to demonstrate how this tool works. So, this tool, is this shown up here?
Yeah.
You spin this in order to get the right depth, whichever ring you're going after. Okay, you can adjust that one, okay? So I've got the tool all set up to slide this ring into place. And I'm actually going to put a little lubricant on some things. I kind of like to have a little bit of lubricant on things. This tool is the push piece. And you'll see how that works. Instead of using your fingers all the whole way, you actually get this over it, and you actually, let me see that? We're going to push this right. We're going to keep coming right down until we get to that groove. Now, of course, this thing is stretched way out of shape. And that's never fun. So you just use your fingers the best you can. We'll try to mold it back together, but we're going to resize it with this tool. One side is beveled. And the idea is you would replace all 5 of these seal rings. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Replace all 5. And later on in the main shaft, there's other seal rings. So it is recommended you change seal rings because these are what seal, keep hydraulic fluid pressure going from one circuit to one clutch. Okay, each one of these areas has a hydraulic pressure passage, hydraulic fluid passage with pressurized fluid in it to whichever clutch it's lined up or associated with. Okay, maybe I've got this all pinched back together enough, but I can go ahead and use the resizing tool. And it must have fit on nice, because it went on relatively easy. I'm going to pull it back up just to show you. Okay? This is right here with, I'm going to go and leave the sizing tool on for a while, an hour or 2, overnight if you'd like, whatever you'd like to do. Okay, yeah. I'll leave that aside. Getting closer. Now, we've reached the stage where we've gone through every one of the sub-assemblies. The CDF drum and assembly, the E-clutch and the main shaft. We didn't actually take apart planet A or planet B. There's nothing else to really do there. But we did take apart the front support, which does house, of course, piston and clutch B, and the apply piston for clutch A. Clutch A, as you might remember, is this big diameter set of clutches that will go in on top of the gear train. We'll review that. Of course, the front support has the gears inside that cover that do drive the transmission pump. And of course, here's the valve body with its various solenoids and valves. Planet 4 will be about the first unit that we do put in to the case. And with that, in the next video segment, we will stack all these components inside the case.